Well,
There we
good
go.
evening, everybody, or at least welcome to our Conscious Cafe Global webinar. I'm going to say this evening, whether you're watching it now or later. We are here in the evening time in the UK, and we have a fantastic evening tonight. We're at the beginning of the year of 2024, which Nick Haines is going to tell us is going to be the year of the dragon, a very exciting time. So Nick has been with us before. Nick Haines, welcome. He's done this a number of times for us, and this is, it's a busy time of year at telling people what's happening with the Chinese energetics, and it's one of our most popular webinars. So we're really pleased to welcome you back. And let me just tell you a little bit about Nick. He's the creator of something called the Vitality Test. I'm sure he'll talk about that. That's available online, and it's a fantastic resource for finding out more about your own vitality and information about yourself. He's an international speaker, author, strategist, teacher in Chinese energetics. He's actually, over the last at least 40 years, carried out over 50,000 one-on-one consultations, and that's that and other things have provided a massive body of knowledge in what he sees as patterns of energies, and that's what he's going to explain to us tonight. He is also the co-founder of the No More Boxes movement, which he's spoken about before, and through his work with the Five Institute, he works with a diverse range of companies, governments, the NHS, and leadership, and talking about culture, communication, diversity, empowerment, and kindness. And that is something that is Nick Haines' speciality, talking about kindness, a kindness ambassador. So, Nick, I'm going to hand over to you for this presentation, and we welcome you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As always, Gina, you do such wonderful descriptions, introductions. That's the word I'm looking for. So thank you so much for that, Gina. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through some content for you. I'm going to do it with a whole kind of slide deck for you. I've just put in the chat area, and you'll be sent it out as well, a link to get all the slides that I'm going to be covering. Some of them I'm going to whisk through quite quickly, but I've got that link that will give you all the individual slides. We're going to go through some content. There'll be a breakout room, discussions, etc., etc. But there's a kind of a body of knowledge I would love to share with you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen.
Nick, as you're setting that up, if people have questions, should they put them in the chat? And then is there a point where you kind of do a question, or are you going to wait till the end?
If what we can do is we've got the breakout rooms, and we can kind of go through after the breakout room, we can kind of go through some discussions there at the same time.
Okay, so people can log a question, but you'll let people know when you're going to do that. That's
absolutely
fine.
Absolutely. Right. I always think it's a good idea to put a question in the chat while it's there, because otherwise it might disappear or something else. So as you have a thought comes up or observation, or you think, "Oh, this is interesting," or "Yeah, I definitely recognize that." Put the comments in there, keeps it nice and interactive, and it also holds it in that space, because another thought will come in and another question. So pop it in that particular area.
Thanks, Nick.
So, welcome to the 2024 Wood Dragon. As I said, I'm going to run through some slides, and if you go to this particular link, you will have all the slides that will be there for you. This is what we're going to cover. Broken it down into kind of 4 different parts for you. First of all, I'm going to kind of set the scene. If you're not familiar with the Chinese Zodiac, I'm going to kind of run through it. Then we're going to do kind of a big part, kind of looking at understanding the energy of now. Kind of context really matters for this particular year. Then in part 3, I'm going to give you 3 guiding principles for 2024. So trying to keep it really simple, just do these things and it'll be a great year. And then in part 4, we're going to have a discussion, because there's a few nuances, there's some subtle stuff that you need to consider for this year. And what I'll do, if you've got questions, we'll have a discussion and I'll bring out lots of different things there. But to start with, let's just set the scene for this magnificent wood dragon year. So if you're not familiar with the Chinese Zodiac, this is how it works. So within the Chinese Zodiac, there are 12 animals, and each year is related to one animal, and it's also related to one of the 5 energies, one of the 5 elements. So it basically means that we operate in a kind of a 60-year cycle. So the last time so it operates, each year occurs once every 60 years. So the last time we were in a wood dragon year was in 1964. Now, each year has a kind of a theme to it, a flow, an undercurrent, a vibration. What it does is it sets up a whole field of possibilities for you. And it's our interaction with those that starts to stir up with us. So each year has this theme, this flow, this undercurrent and vibration. As well as that, you have each block of 12 years also has a theme, a flow, an undercurrent, and a vibration. Now, we're currently in a block of time dominated by metal energy. It started with 2 metal energy years. It will end with 2 metal energy years. So out of the 12 years, 4 are metal energy, and that is significant. So just to I'll kind of touch on this a bit later, but just to give you a bit of an idea. So 2020 and 2021 were both metal energy years. Metal energy is about isolation. It's about disconnection. It's associated with the lungs and the large intestine. It's about working out what it is that you value and what it is that you don't value. So we started out in 2020 with an experience of disconnection, of isolation, of stuff going around the lungs, and the COVID had a big effect on people's digestive systems, on the colon particularly. It was 30–40% of people that had COVID. But it was also working out what it is that matters to you. What do you value? What's important? What isn't? Metal energy is always about secrets and things being hidden as well. So we started out with 2 metal energy years. We'll end up with 2 metal energy years. So as well as the year having a certain vibration to it, the wood dragon, the year that we're about to come into, we've also got this block of time. And all of this kind of resonates with you. Think about this like a tuning fork. It has a certain sound to it, a certain resonance, and that will be picked up sympathetically by you. So all of this will resonate with you. It will interact with your stars, your Eastern, your Western stars, the numerology of your name, the numerology of your date of birth. It will also interact with the kind of the essence of who you are. The ancient Chinese believed that when we came to Earth, we made a promise to do something, to explore something, to be something, and it will interact with that. It will also interact with your karmic energy, your family energy, your history, the stuff that you are carrying through generations. The year will also interact with that. So you might think at this stage, well, oh, this is actually really confusing. How on earth do I work out this particular year? It's working with my East, my West stars, my numerology of my birth and my name and my essence, the promise I made, my parental energy, some karmic stuff. How on earth do I work out this year for me? I think personally the easiest way to do it is to do it via the vitality test profile, because your vitality test profile is an amalgam of your Eastern, Western stars, your numerology. It reflects the promise that you made when you came to Earth. And in your vitality test profile is everything you need to fulfill the promise that you made, and some challenges and things to learn and grow by. So once you understand that profile, you can go, okay, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm here to do. These are the gifts I have. These are the things I need to look out for. And there's a real interaction between those energies. So I think looking at the energy of the year via your vitality test profile is the simplest way to do it, because it is the essence and the amalgam of who you are in your purest of senses. So when you look at, we all have we might have a similar vitality test profile to someone else, but inherently we're going to be different. So you might have the same balance of energy as someone else, but no one will have had your experience, no one will have had your circumstance, no one would have been born into the same family that you were born into. And the promise you made is unique to you. So your vitality test profile is a very unique thing to you because of your history, your promise, your family, etc., etc. So you'll notice on the profile you have energies that are slightly more dominant. And where you have your dominant energies, that tends to be your focus or your way of seeing in the world. Whereas where you have these kind of lower energies, it's kind of these dents coming in or less there, that tends to be where you have your blind spots or your lack of focus. Now, your blind spots or your lack of focus, they kind of matter in certain years because it's something you just fail to see in that year. And same way as your way of seeing your world, your window in the world, that again will help you in the year. If you've not taken the vitality test, it is completely free. Just go to 5institute.com and it's there for you. So let me just pull this together for you in the context of the Wood Dragon year. So we are currently sitting in a year that we're moving into 2024 Wood Dragon year. It has wood energy. So there's the influence of wood energy in this year. And we've also got the dragon that's influencing the energy of this year. Then we've got the kind of block of time that we're sitting in, metal energy. That will have some influence as well. That's fading a little bit, but it's still there. Then we've got you, and then we've got represented by your vitality test profile. So that's the energy of this year. So let's look at delving into this year and kind of understanding the energy of now. Now I'm adding in some stuff here because 2024 is a Wood Dragon year. Context matters. It really matters a lot with this particular year. And once you get the context in which we're sitting in, you can make different decisions and you can see how things are going to play out. And it gets to be a year full of possibilities for you and things to be aware of. So context matters. So as I said, we're operating in a 60-year cycle. So 2024 is equivalent to 1964. So if you look at what was happening, and the 1960s give us a good clue about the resonance with what's going on with this particular year. So if you look at 1964, they were still adjusting to coming out of two world wars. In 63, they'd just had the Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay, so 64, they were dealing with the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it was a big one. It was probably the nearest time that we've found gone into a nuclear war. They were also in the 1960s, they were deciding to send a kind of a man to the moon. They decided that we were going to be interstellar species. We were going to move out from our planet. We were going to leave it, whatever. And also in 1964, as a result of 1960, we also had plot twists. And I talked about last year that in 2023, they would have plot twists. And that's the very nature. And the big plot twist at the end of 1963 was the assassination of JFK, the president. And that was a plot twist that's relevant. Now, in 2024, we're kind of we're back in the space thing. We're going up into space. In 2024, we've got wars. Wars have come back into Europe, and we've got a threat of a possibility of nuclear weapons being used. We also had, again, in October of a water rabbit year, we had a plot twist. We had Gaza. And it was a plot twist, and it changed thinking, and different things went on. We saw incredible destruction. So in both 1964 and 2024, we're seeing a possibilities of really quite dramatic stuff. But we're also seeing something else appearing in a very, very similar way. We're seeing an exploration in 2024, as in the 60s, about could we actually live in a different way? Could we have a different era? Could we exist with an alternative way of living? Can we break down old models? We're exploring, you know what? There's a big push as a result of what we've been experiencing of saying, actually, what I want is I want more peace. I want peace in the world. This is not good. What's going on here is deeply disturbing to our spiritual souls, our earthly existence. It is distressing. So there is a desire for peace. There's a desire for love. There is a desire for unity. There is a sense of a building rebellion that we just want things different than it is. This isn't okay, the trajectory that we're on and how things are happening. There is kind of revolution and change in the air. There is a sense that old systems really need to be challenged because this isn't okay what we're currently doing. And there is a bubbling up of that. Another and that's kind of been building over the last few years, but we certainly saw in 23, we certainly saw a build up of the kind of revolutionary energy wanting to build up, trying to break away from old systems. And that's kind of in a way what last year was one of the many things last year was about. It was to stir up some revolution on this whole decade, that this period of time we've been in, this metal energy block of time, has been trying to get us to let go, stir up, to change, to look at things in a completely different way. Remember, metal energy is about disconnection, it's about breaking free, etc. And another era of time when we were also in this same block of time with water rabbit years, wood dragon years, etc., was 1783. And in 1783, you just had the America trying to breaking away from the oppressive British rule. So in 1783, we had independence of the United States from the oppressive British rule. It was a revolution. It was a change. It changed the structure and the way in which the world worked. So the period that we're moving in is a fundamental period of revolution. And it's not revolution in the smallest of sense. It is sea change revolution. Think how much of a revolution it was when America broke away from Britain. How much we saw in the 60s fundamentally trying to change the way that the world worked. So revolution is the context that matters at the moment. The other thing I think that really matters is looking at the years that we have been through. And this matters. So 2020 was a metal rat year, 21 was a metal ox year. Both had their own challenges, but fundamentally it was about isolation, about letting go, working out what it is that you value and what it is that you don't value. Then we moved into 2022 and 2023. They were water energy years. Water energy is the most powerful energy of the five energies. Water has the ability to go around something. It has the ability to go under something. Through it has the power to just push things over. It has the power to blast through things. It is unstoppable as a force. It also has the power to consistently work away at something and leave its mark on the earth. So think about the Grand Canyons and the valleys created by the glaciers. Water leaves its mark on the earth. So we had 2 years of exploring, do we have power or don't we have power? Am I going to step into my power? And the tiger aspect of it is the most powerful of the 12 animals in an earthly sense. And it was trying to, again, to teach us to be brave, to be strong. The rabbit was about community. It was also about giving us plot twists, things that suddenly came out of nowhere to change how we view the world, to change how we think about things. And the 2023, I would suspect for most of us, We saw it in the world. We saw plot twists. We thought, wow, I just didn't see that coming. Just the same as they had in the 60s, 63, etc. There have been plot twists. So the Water Rabbit year was designed to wake you up, shake you up, break you up. There was fundamentally, over the last 4 years, there has been a dismantling of a lot. And you may well feel dismantled. I certainly felt, and it can sometimes feel like being broken, but it is a dismantling to be rearranged to break out things. But fundamentally, if you look at the 4 years we've been in, it's to let go, to move things, to dismantle things. But the essence of what they're trying to do those years are trying to get you to work it out what it is that you want. Do you want more peace? Do you want more love? Do you want more this? What is it that you want? And you'll have been given experiences of things that you have loved and things that you have really not liked as contrast, just to get you to recognize, this is what I want. This is what I want for me. This is what I want for the world. This is what I value. This is what I don't value. So those 4 years have been an experience to gain that. And they have been brutal on some senses, but they have been for a reason. Because if you're going to have change, you've got to kind of work out what it is that you want the change to be. It's not a passive game. So what I want to do at this particular stage is I want to get you into go breakout rooms to kind of look and discuss a little bit about this. Now, so Jean's going to put you in breakout rooms. There's kind of I only think there's really one rule for breakout rooms, and that is just to look kind of pleased that you're in with the particular person. So look pleased to see the person, but obviously don't look too pleased, because then it will just make you look weird. Okay, so be pleased to see someone, just not too pleased. Looks strange. Okay, so this is what I want you to discuss about in the room, and it's to explore over this period of time, what did you recognize as truly valuable to you or to the world, and what do you want more of? Okay, this is valuable and I want more of this. Don't say what you don't want, just say, I want this. I want more peace. I want more of this. I want more thing. We've had also in these 2 water energy years, water energy about consequences. They're about survival. So we've had situations where money has come up, that we don't feel safe, we don't have resources, we don't have reserves. Consequences have played out. And again, that is telling you what it is you do and you don't want. So I am curious what came up in the groups in terms of what we want to put into the field, what we want to have. So Dan, your breakout room was great. That's good. Well done. So anyone want to raise their hand or share Ursula, please.
Yes, I was with a group of 3 other women, and the big signal in that room was to say freedom, especially
Ooh.
emotional freedom, and freedom to respond to life, and also that freedom to hold the hope of what the future may bring, rather than look at all the chaos. So that would be the big summary I would make of a lovely exchange between us.
Oh, I love that, Ursula. And when we go through this next bit of content, you're going to go, oh, thank you. I love that. And if and pop in the chat area what else we had. So we got more freedom, sovereignty. What else have we got? Diane?
Unmute. Yeah, I wrote down the first thing that came up was actually peace, but as in not world peace, but personal peace. So silence. There were 4 people there, but therefore, and we all agreed that you need to have that the silence around you to be able to focus on your inner thoughts and silence. Yeah, but therefore, I wrote down Emotional intelligence.
Oh yeah.
Because somebody else actually said it, but for me that really rang a bell, because it's awareness of other people. Emotional intelligence,
Mm,
it's being understanding the feelings that are going on, not just within but also around you, so that we're all aware of each other and aware of how other people are feeling. Yeah. And the last word I
yeah.
wrote down was intention, because the last person that said about it was talking about how they're very conscious that when they speak, they try not to focus on the negative bit. So therefore they try to focus on positive stuff, because that is what is going to be
Yeah.
spread about. Other people are going to pick up on
Yeah.
it. And if you're moaning, then they'll all moan as well. And if you're trying to be positive, then hopefully they'll be positive too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Perfect. Perfect. I've got some great things in the chat area, and we'll with the recording we'll try and include the chat as well. I think that would be good. Tamara.
Yes, I've written down flow,
Nice. Nice.
community,
Yep.
openness, generosity, and fresh air.
Perfect. Perfect. I love that. So we've got on, and you'll see with the content. I'm not going to delay. I'm going to tell you the next. We're going to go through the next bit of content, and you're going to really love the kind of creation and how those. We've got have a few MPs barred from standing. Very nice idea, Susan. I like that. So we're going to look at this creation. Let me share my screen again. Let me share my screen again. Oh, Jessica, you just raised your hand. I think you just got it in there. So feel free.
Unmute. Unmute.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. I wasn't sure who was going to go. I wasn't going to show. I was with two very lovely women who have both
Right.
lost someone quite relatively recently. And the three things that we came up with was the importance of relationships.
Yeah.
Another lady said she just wants inner peace.
Mm.
And then my own was, all I want more of is just the truth. Because when you have the truth, you have everything. You have peace, you have everything. But truth is fundamental, or you've got nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
was
no,
it was a lovely little group for a couple of minutes, wasn't it, Jessica?
Sorry?
It was a lovely group for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, love that. Love that. And you know, I think particularly those, well, certainly I mean, metal energy, we're in this block of time, and we had two metal energy years, 2020, 2021. Metal energy, every energy has an emotion attached with it. And metal energy, the emotion is loss, it's grief. So I think there was a kind of a collective experience of many things, people losing many, many things. And I lost quite a lot of people. So, yeah. So thank you very much for that. That was a good to appreciate that side of it, and recognizing that people have lost a lot, and we need to have that emotional intelligence to recognize that. Anyway, I'll move away from that or I'll start crying.
Can I ask why that occurred? Was it just a sort of figure of the metal energy years where you experience loss? Because
yeah, I
mean, as well.
It's an experience around loss. So if you think about the 1960s, prior to that, they were there was intense grieving about the loss from two world wars. Look at the loss of life that had gone in. And what they tried to do in the 1960s was try and reconfigure around loss and say, we have something else instead. But there was a real difficulty because some people thought, how can these young people be out having fun and doing these things? Do they have no appreciation of the sacrifice and the loss of what went on? So there was a juxtaposition going on around loss. So it is trying to resolve it, come to terms with it, have it. It's just and the loss, from the loss, the design is to have the appreciation of what you do have, and at the same time have the loss. So it's about those two things, and the two things existing at the same time is part of what we're trying to do, as we'll look at. So yeah, it was part of what we they went through in the 60s. They went through in most of these metal energy blocks of time. There is a grieving of some sort, or a resolution of it. I've been doing this for 40 years, and I can say I was not looking forward to the grief side of 2020. I wasn't looking forward to that one. But I have to say, I'm looking forward to this year. So let us have a little look at this wood energy, this wood dragon year. And what we're going to do is we're going to break this year down into two component parts, looking at wood energy first of all, and then we'll look at dragon energy. And what we'll do is we'll just give you a sense of the essence of wood energy, and pick out a few things to give you a sense of it. So the first thing to recognize is that wood energy is related to spring. Every energy is related to a particular season. So it's related to spring, and that kind of gives you a sense a bit about the essence of wood energy. So in spring, what we have is we have two things kind of going on. So if you look at this picture here, what you have at the beginning of spring, you have everything constrained and trapped in a hard shell, or trapped in a seed or a bud or a bulb or something. There is a dynamic tension of I want freedom. I am constrained. There must be something more. And then what it does is it goes from this constrainedness of stuff being kind of held and stuck into whoosh. And the change, the speed at which spring and that wood energy goes is just incredible. It goes from nothing to everything in a heartbeat. So what we're going to see in this year, we're going to see the speed, we're going to see the constraintness of holding stuff being held back, and then woof, it's going to go on. There can be a slightly kind of chaoticness when it happens, but it's fundamentally, it's this control, then chaos, but it's ultimately about creation, about things being new. So the first thing you can think about the essence of wood energy is about control, it's about chaos, it's about creation. Now, it is worth saying that with this wood energy that we're all going to be exposed to, and some of us have more wood energy in our vitalitas profile, you can have creation and ideas, but not all ideas are necessarily good. So we're going to see imagination, we're going to see new ways of looking at things, but they won't all be okay. But the whole point is to experiment, to explore, to say, okay, what are the possibilities? And it is thinking out of the box. So I'm going to make a hat for my dog. Whoa, look at this. So it's out of the box thinking that we're going to be doing. Okay. The other thing that you think about with this particular thing, this acorn absolutely knows it's going to be an oak tree. It doesn't think it's going to be a daffodil. It doesn't think it's going to be a tulip, doesn't think it's going to be a horse. It knows it's going to be an oak tree. And it will push through concrete to express itself as an oak tree. So there is, with wood energy, the essence around wood energy, there is a plan and a dream. And the judgment is that wood energy is about judgment, because if you look in spring, there has to be a judgment as to when you come out, as to when you do things, as to when you move forward. So wood energy has this thing about judgment, plans, and dreams. Every energy gives us as individuals with it in our profile, it gives us a big question. And the big question for wood energy is, am I free? Are we free? So there's stuff going on around freedom. Then the other thing about wood energy, it's got something kind of going on around justice. And people with a lot of wood energy will stand up against an injustice, and they will take on a power bigger than themselves. So the other thing I think is significant for this year and next year, because another wood energy year, is there's going to be something going on around rules, something going on around freedom, about revolution, about justice. It's breaking the mold, it's out of the box thinking. So you think in the 1960s, there was about breaking the rules, freedom, it was about revolution, but it was also about dealing with fundamental core injustices of the Civil Rights Act, of saying, look, this is just wrong, we need to be different. Back in the day in 1783, the kind of injustice of what was happening, what was created. So the essence of wood energy, so it was interesting saying what I want is I want more freedom, I want justice, I want the truth, I want dreams to come true. There is another dynamic around it. Let's look at the dragon. Let's see what that will bring to the year, and see how it fits. So the first thing to think about the dragon is to look at it within the context of the other animals. And if you look, the dragon is the only animal that is not of this world. You have kind of rats and oxen and tigers and dogs and pigs and horses, and then you have a dragon. And a dragon is fundamentally an outlier. It's not of this world. And what it's designed to do, it's designed to bring us messages from another world. That's what it's designed to do. Now, what messages will it bring? Well, that's to do with the energy that's associated with. So a previous dragon year was 2012. That was a water dragon year. Water energy is about purpose, it's about meaning. So we were exploring what it is that we're about, and we were getting messages about our destiny. Whereas these are messages from another world about wood energy things. So that's an essence, and I think it's a really important one. We will get messages about how we want things, we'll get ideas, we'll get all sorts of things. We have a great benefit from the dragon in a wood dragon year, in that dragons, by their very nature, they're confident, they're powerful, and they're ambitious. And it's not ambitious as in an arrogant, ambitious way. It is, I want more. And then there is the confidence that you can tap into. Just the same as other years, you can tap into the nature of the animal. So there is a confidence that can come in this year, and power, and an ambition for, I want more. I want more of these things. Okay. So you will have that. The confidence side, I think, is worth mentioning, because it does give you, there is something going on around confidence. It might be that it shows you up that you need to do something about your confidence. It might think, actually, it's really coming to me that I need to be more confident. I need to step into my power. I need to do the thing that I'm here to do. And one of the things that we talk about in this particular year is that you may have had the confidence to do what you've done, but do you have the confidence to do what you're here to do next? And it is a stepping up, a stepping out, and the dragon will help with that confidence or highlight where you need to have some work for it. So confidence, power, and ambition, and it will help this particular year. If we're going to change the world, those are pretty good things to have. Ambitious, it's not, I just don't want ordinary, I want something outside the ordinary, outside the box. Then the other thing about dragons is they're idealistic, they're visionary, and they're congruent. And what I mean by that is there is an authenticity that the dragon demands of us, for us to be authentically ourselves. So this is who I am, this is who we are, this is how I show up in the world. So again, you think about the 1960s, it was kind of like, let's be authentic. Let's be who we are. And there is this idealistic, visionary idea that we have. Now, that gives us a kind of essence of the dragon. And then we've got this kind of wood energy going on there together. So this year will be a blend of that wood energy and the dragon kind of coming along together. Now you think to yourself, great, Nick, where on earth do I go with this? Well, you are blessed, because I'm going to give you 3 guiding principles for 2024. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the context. So we're going to give you 3 things that I think you need to do. Do that well. It'll be great. But let's just talk about a little bit around the kind of context of these things and just pull things out. So if you're combining the dragon and the wood energy together, there is a couple of things that I think are really, really, really important. Wood energy as an energy, it's a creative energy. And I talk about this in some of my programs. The nature of every energy has a spiritual side to it. And the spiritual side to wood energy is something called Hun. And it basically is the part of us that wanders. It creates our dreams at night, and it creates our dreams in the day. It's when people go, oh God, I've just suddenly got this idea. Well, where did that come from? I don't know. It just came to me out of nowhere. Wood energy gives us the ability to wander into a different world, download information, and create something brand new. It is the wandering part of our spiritual soul. Okay. We've got a dragon year, which is also messages from another world. So this is quite an out of this world year for creation, for manifestation, for bringing things out. There is a kind of a wandering. Got the wood energy dreams. You've got the visionary side of the dragon. You've got the wood energy can be a little bit idealistic as well. They can get a little bit stubborn and say, this is how it should be. And at the same time, the wood energy, it can get very stuck. This is how it should be. And then it can also get very relaxed about it and say, oh, it doesn't matter how it is. So people with a lot of wood energy can be sometimes challenging to be around, because they can be very fixed or very relaxed. And you don't quite know which version you're going to get, because it's dependent on various things. So there will be it could be an idealistic or controlling side to the wood energy. But we're actually meant to be creative. We're meant to be a visionary, meant to be imaginative. We're not meant to think in the way that we thought we meant to have. We're meant to have revolution, different change. There will be stuff around freedom. There will be stuff around tackling justice. Okay. The wood energy with the rules, with wood energy, there is a side that they are very prepared to break the rules or play with the rules, but they're not okay if their rules have been broken, which stirs up the injustice. And you put that kind of power of the dragon with, so we're going to talk about what you need to watch, but there is an out of this world side to this combination. So let's look at this kind of guiding principles for you. Okay. The first one, and I think this is a really, 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 really important one for us as individuals and within the world, for society, the world as a whole. And that is to look for and permit possibilities. Okay. There may well be a lot of cynicism in the world. Oh, that's never going to work. That's what metal energy is about. It's about perfection. It's about needs to be done a certain way. But what we should be doing this year is we should look for and permit possibilities. There is a potential for a blossoming of things. So you might say, okay, I'm going to look for peace in the world. I'm going to look for that possibility that the world could be more peaceful. Remember, this is a manifestation time. So if you say, I will not permit the possibility of peace, then you will not permit the possibility of peace, and it will reduce down that possibility. If you permit it and say, yes, it will be, then you move the energy in that direction. It's all this year and next year, it's all about moving energy in a certain direction. And if we don't permit it, we collapse down the field. So look for the possibilities of peace, look for the possibilities that you could recapture something that you once had. The Wood Dragon year is in its essence, it has a thing around planting seeds. You don't need to get everything right. It's just about planting the seeds and looking and permitting for the possibility of something to exist. Just say, oh, this is interesting. And the way to do it in a part is curiosity and an openness. Remembering metal energy will be saying, well, that's not right. That's not perfect. That's not okay. That won't work. But we're meant to be experimenting. So permit the possibility is really, really important. The second one, and we've been given an experience to do this, to be clear on what you want and who you are. And that can be difficult. And part of the reason I said to Gina and Judy that I want to do this before this year even starts, I want to do that because right at the beginning, depending when you listen to this, right at the beginning, before the Wood Dragon year starts, you will be lost. Most people, there is a lostness to them. That's such a word. We lost some of our identity. We lost what we knew. And so something has gone, which is the detachment, dissociation, etc., and dismantling. Something has gone, but something has not yet arrived. Okay. So it's absolutely perfectly okay to be not to be that clear at this stage about how you're going to do something. But it's not okay to not know what it is that you want. Who you are will be a discovery that will happen throughout the year. But just look at what the experience you had and why we did that exercise. And it's just broad brush strokes. Simple that this is what I want. Because as I said, Wood Dragon years are the best years to manifest, because that's what dragons do. And wood energy is about creation. And it's about creating what it is that we love. It's about manifesting. It's about creating and saying, this is what I want. This is what I feel I want. You don't have to have the plan to get it. That's a wood energy trap. Well, I must have a plan. No, you don't. You just have to do kind of broad brush strokes and say, be clear on what you want. Okay, I want to have more freedom. I want to just get out there, enjoy stuff. I want to have exciting times. I want to do things that are different. I want to get out and about. I want to travel. You might say, actually, what I want is I've lost touch with people. I want to connect with old friends and do something together. Or it may be that through the experiences you've had, you thought, actually, one thing I have really enjoyed is me time to be by myself. So you say, actually, I want more time to be in balance, to be in harmony, to have peace, to have that tranquility. And you don't have to know how you get it. You just have to say, this is what I want. Or it might be that you think, actually, what I want is love. I want a forever friend. Or it might be that you have been changing so much that the people that you once knew, your tribe, are now not the same people that they once were, or you're not the same person. So you may be clear and say, actually, what I want is a tribe. I want people that resonate with me, that fit me. I want that. And just be clear, I want this. And it's fine to say, just to be clear on what you want and to be clear on who you are. The best way, I think, to becoming clear on who you are, I think the vitality test is a really, really great way to look at each individual energies, how they're playing out, etc. And within this being clear of who we are, we're in interactions with other people, and other people will be will be changing. And one of the challenges we can have in this wood dragon year is people can get a little bit fixed on their thinking, and it might be a little bit stressful. A wood energy, the emotion is anger, is irritation. So it might be some stuff around that you need to get a bit more fired up. You need to get a little bit more angry about it, something in a good way of saying, actually, you know what? No, I'm putting a boundary in here. This is not okay. Or it might be that you need to deal with some of that anger yourself, that frustration, and just kind of do the letting go. It's a balancing stuff that we need to do this year. But there may be kind of people around you that might be struggling with things. So I kind of have a gift for you. It's from my book, The Art of Kind of Flowing Relationships, and I'll kind of do a link with this, and it's chapter 5, which is the secret of living with each energy. So it says, okay, if I've got wood energy and they have fire energy, how do we work out? How do we get on together? How do we make this work? It could also be that you decide to be in a partnership with someone to do something big. Then you've got to work out who you are and how you live together. And so that's a gift to help you with other people to do the big stuff. Because one of the big things with dragons is that they are really good together. They don't, and we seem strange. A dragon, yeah, they are really good together. They can struggle by themselves. So togetherness is a really important thing this year, but we've got to work out how to deal with the tension that might be kind of building up. And the third of your guiding principles is to allow two things to exist at the same time. So the one thing that we're doing in this wood dragon year, and we've been kind of doing for the last couple of years, is we're trying to break out of an old system, an old structure. And what we're trying to do is we're fundamentally trying to move into the quantum field. And the quantum field is basically the place of creative manifestation, of having something completely different. But within quantum thing and an atomic level, an electron atom an electron can exist in two places at the same time. It can be there and here at the same time. So we're exploring two things existing at the same time. That's where we're meant to be going. So what have we seen over the last few years? We've seen an inability for people to accept that there can be two possibilities. What side are you on? Are you this or are you that? Whereas we're moving into two possibilities exist. So as a guiding principle, so it might be that I can, that you can say, okay, well, I'm going to do something really big and I'm going to have inner peace. I'm going to look after myself and I'm going to look after some other people, as opposed to I'm just going to look after other people and not look after myself. It's about the duality of two things being able to exist at the same time. So you will have been given things around you struggling for two things to exist at the same time. And this is a great year to practice that. And that moves us into the field of possibilities, a quantum field, and we move outside time of creation. Okay, so those are your three guiding principles. And what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little bit of a conversation, a bit of a discussion. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll see what comes up as questions. What are we? Gina, do you want to pull up any questions that are there, or people want to put them in the group, or people can raise?
Do you want to ask a question? Okay. Somebody asked a question about their son in Israel or Gaza. I don't know. How does she support him in Tel Aviv? He lives in Tel Aviv, currently in chaos. How can she best support him as big changes coming for him?
Yeah, I think it is, and it is really difficult. This is really difficult to do.
So I
is to
that she said he was born in 1964. So he's the wood dragon. It's like his year.
okay. So I would still go with the vitality test profile, because not every wood dragon has the same energy. Okay. And you with these years, people say, oh, is this a, and I'm going to be a little bit controversial here, a little bit, stir things up a bit. So when you see horoscopes and say, this year is a bad year for water rats, or this year is a bad year for wood dragons, or this year is complete and utter nonsense. It's just not true. Don't tell me that everyone born in that year is going to have a certain year. We all have challenges with these years. In those metal energy years, I was deeply, deeply challenged because of my energy. It will be slightly easier in these coming years, but I'll still be given challenges. Can I be brave? Can I be forthright? So look at your vitality test profile and look at the energies there and how they kind of resonate and how they work with it. And holding those possibilities is the big one. And that, I love that, Ursula, they're kind of yet to be seeded. And in a way, what you can do is you can think about the last few years have been about letting go. Whereas this year we shift energy and it's about letting come. It's letting things come rather than letting things go. But we get to choose that in our field. I see a hand. Carol. Carol, have I pronounced that right?
Yes, it's Carol.
Thank you.
And Nicholas, I missed the start of your presentation, so I'm sorry if I'm asking a question that we might have covered. I'm a dragon from 1952. What was that dragon? It wasn't.
No, it would be water. It would be a water. It would be a water dragon. And water energy is about purpose. It's about leaving its mark on the earth. Yes. So that's what we've had 2 water energy years. So we've had all this stuff around what's my purpose? What am I here for? Blah, 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 blah. We've had all this being stirred up at the same time. Lots of stirring up of why am I here and what's my purpose? And just when we think we've got it worked out, we have a plot twist and it turns it all on its head again. But I was so clear about what I wanted. And there's plot twists that change us, but it's trying to get us to get to the essence of the bigger purpose as to what we're here. That's what those years were about.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, great energy.
I'm just going to ask you a question. When you said about the 2 truths, do you mean like the Matrix, where there is 2 worlds, 2 layers, all happening at the same time? Is that kind of when you say 2, or do you have another meaning for 2 truths? You know, do you mean like 2 directions? Because the Matrix, as we understand it, was like, here I am, but there's another world happening at the same time, and another layer, another level.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of debate as to whether or not we're just currently living in a matrix, and you know, it's that thing. No, what I'm fundamentally meaning is the easiest way to think about it is to think about computers. Okay, so a standard computer, what it does is it says something is either this or it's that. It's either a 1 or a 0. It can't be both. It's either this or that. And that's a binary way of speaking. What we've managed to do is we've managed to create quantum computers in which it could be a this and a that, or both, or neither, at exactly the same time. Okay. The difference, and this once you get your head around the ability that we will get when we don't have to have something is this or that. Are they right or are they wrong, etc. It's why we've got the whole stuff going on around gender, non-binary stuff. We're trying to be stretched around it, and some people are really struggling that someone could be both if they choose to be both, because you aren't. You're either one or the other. Which are you? And get lots of anger around it. So the difference between a regular computer and a quantum computer is if you give a calculation to a regular computer that would take 27 years to do, a quantum computer will be able to do it in 6 seconds.
Yeah, got it.
And that's what we're trying to look to do, to go woof in our ability to think beyond the binary. Go, oh, okay, I'm big. And most of our brain and our emotions think are just not being used, and they reckon it's because we just need to move into a different field to be able to use our mind in a different way.
It's at the Star Trek when it goes into hyperspace.
It's just hyper. Yeah, yeah. And what it will do is, when we can do it, our brains will get less tired. We will be less tired. We're fundamentally fatigued at the moment because we're dismantling things and we're working out whether it's this or that, and we're exhausted with it. Okay, and that isn't what we're meant to do. We're meant to do this jump. So just practice it.
It's what Bob Proctor talked about. We're living in an and universe.
Yeah, absolutely. And this in 60-year cycle is this hasn't happened for 60 years, our ability to shift beyond that. So just think what they tried to do in the 60s. We could have this and that. We can be a community and we can be individuals as well. That was an example. I'm an individual within a community. Okay. I can't remember, was Anne-Marie first or Ursula? Either one is fine.
Ursula first.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'm a dragon from the 52 as well, so I'm going to stand up and say so, aren't I? Yes, I just wanted to say, in the Brahmin mythology, they work in sort of 26,000 year periods. Of influences upon the planet and the sun and so on. So I'm just thinking, with the dragon influence, how is it different in this cycle while we're in this interim period between one universe and being on the outside of it and getting into it? Is there a sort of different sign somewhere from the dragon influence now that hasn't been around for thousands and thousands of years?
Yeah, there is. So I think I did this in one of the other things. I was going to include it, but it would get to be too much content. What we're fundamentally trying to do at the moment is we've got something that hasn't happened for kind of a couple of 1,000 years, in that we're trying to shift in geopolitics, consumerism, and spirituality are all trying to shift into a different energy at the same time. And that hasn't happened for thousands and thousands of years. So we're trying to say, okay, are we going to rethink our geopolitics, how we exist? And it's moving into an earth energy, which is about community. Are we going to change our consumerism and to have into a metal energy phase of less is more, but more elegant, more beautiful, etc.? Are we going to change our spirituality, which is moving from a metal energy phase into a water energy phase? And water energy phase is our spirituality is evolving into something different. It's not, it's metamorphosizing into something completely different. So that big cycle is going on at the same time, as well as the 60-year cycle, as well as other astrological things like the age of Aquarius, etc., etc. But they all say the same thing. So this is different, because we're trying to change our geopolitics, our consumerism, and our spirituality at the same time as having a revolution and the spiritual. It's a lot.
Yeah, but also it's like you said about that computer, you know, that there's the energy level is different for that super duper computer. And isn't that what's happening now on our planet? That we're getting filled up with a much higher, more superior, extraordinary energy that hasn't existed maybe for 50,000 years or more.
Absolutely. And I think, and thank you for that, Ursula. And I think what is very, very significant is that everyone here in this room and everyone is on the earth have chosen to be born at this particular time. And that's why I do this stuff, just to get people a bit of a handle on what's going on, so we can have inner peace, outer peace, and decide how we want the world to be. Because it is not a given. It is not a given that we will have peace and love and thing. It's absolutely not a given. We have to claim it, and we have to do everything we have. They tried it in the 1960s, and the energy was collapsed down by the system. Assassinated Kennedy, they assassinated Martin Luther King, they assassinated Bobby Kennedy, they assassinated loads and loads of people, and it killed it. And so it's not a given that it will happen. But it's easier this time. It's easier this time because we can be in a manifesting field.
So Anne-Marie is next. Spotlight. Where's the spotlight? Make coast. Sorry, I'm just trying to see Anne-Marie.
I'm here. Sorry, I was on mute. Hello.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this amazing presentation. So I am a wood dragon, and I was born in 1964, so I feel particularly interested in this. And of course, people say, "Oh, it's going to be an amazing year for you." You know, I'm all geared up, and so it's good you say don't necessarily expect everything to go perfectly. And I also did the vitality test last night, and I must say I found it incredibly revealing. And I've done a lot of these tests, you know, Enneagram and all this stuff, and I've found it the most accurate one I've ever done, actually. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I really recommend it to anyone who hasn't done it yet. So my question is quite personal, but tell me if this is off track. But I suppose I'm thinking this year's an opportunity, whether or not. So I've just started a new business. I've been invited to go into business with an ex-colleague last year, beginning of 2023, which was completely out of the blue. And the funny thing is, I've just been training as a sort of systems coach, and I was all excited about that. And then this opportunity came along, which has sort of taken me more back to where it feels like back to what I was doing before, which was more communications, marketing, consulting, which, you know, anyway, I'm just sort of feeling, am I supposed to be doing something new? But I'm also not wanting to fight with reality. And I'm really enjoying being in business with somebody, you know, the whole experience of setting up a business and working with somebody else who I wonder might also be a dragon too, as I listen to your presentation. I suppose my question is around this. It sounds really important to be clear for next year what we want. And I suppose you did say you'll feel lost. I'm feeling like, do I need to actively get clear, or will it become clear? Because you said let things come, didn't you? So
yeah. Okay. So that is a great question, and it's a perfect segue into some really important content. So the doing new could be a new version of something old, and the majority, most people are going to do a new version of something old. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take, because we're not trying to remove history, we're trying to take history, reconfigure it, rechange it, and do something different. So it might be, a lot of people are saying, this is kind of like I did before, because all of those, what you did before, were all the lessons, were all the experience. It's all that water, and it's like, you've carved a path, you have authority, you have expertise, you have knowledge. It's, can I take that knowledge, that expertise, etc., and re-engineer and reconfigure it in a way that is different? So it might be, I'm doing it in a different way, I'm doing it with a different person, I'm doing it in a different, so that is 100% completely fine. Okay. The next thing, as part of your question, and I think I wasn't clear about this, and I apologize. What you need to do is work out what it is that you want in broad senses. So you might say, I want to work and feel peaceful. I want to work and have a life. I want to work and have some money. I
Yes.
want to work and have fun. I want to work.
All of that. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so the construct of how you do that is a different question, but all you're doing is saying, I want to work and have a good.
Yeah.
I want to do work and I want to do something filling. I want to have a relationship that makes me feel special. I want to have a relationship that does whatever it might be. It's very broad brush strokes.
Right.
But you have to say, this is what I want. Okay.
Okay. In time for the new year, you have that front of mind for the new year.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't have to necessarily, I can see actually I'm doing that wood dragon thing of wanting to have the plan. Even as I'm talking to you. Yeah. Right.
And that is the wood energy trap.
Yes.
The wood energy will say, but you haven't got a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm manifesting and creating. I'm in the field of possibilities. I'm opening and welcoming these possibilities. I'm not closed as to how it will be. I'm open, but I'm very clear about what it is that I want.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. Yeah.
So as part of a program that we're running, one of the things that we look at is we look at energetic architecture. And energetic architecture is the structure that you need to be in to get the thing that you want to have. Okay, so you can have an energetic architecture of flow, which is designed to get you in flow if you follow the rules of that. But you might not want to be in that. You might want to be in the energetic architecture of a framework, and you say, okay, I'm going to follow a framework because that is pretty well guaranteed that I'm going to get it.
Right.
Or you might be in the architecture of possibilities or thing. So you just have to kind of get the right structure, and the right structure comes from what in the main comes from how's this feeling?
Right.
Oh, not feel good. Wood energy is about intuition. Dragons about messages. So how does this feel? Something's not right. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel right. Okay, that's telling you something. Get some help, get some support, question it, etc., etc. Not feeling right is not the same as being scared. I'm terrified a lot of the time about what I do and how big it thing, but I can still be okay with it.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Yes.
Okay. Last 2 years have been water energy years. The emotion is fear. We're going to have residues of fear still coming on, just the same as residues of grief.
Right.
And that's why we need to do the confidence stuff this particular year.
Right. Okay. And when you say do the confidence stuff, what does that? Anyway, that's another question. Sorry.
Yeah, no. It's understanding the nature of confidence, really, and you'll have the help from the dragon from it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So we're coming towards the end. A couple of things, Nick. Firstly, in terms of time, because January 1st is not really the start of the year. So when so we're in this, you've already talked about the word transition. We're in this like no man's land really in January. The year hasn't started. We're left over from last year. So, when we'll, speak more about that timing. And secondly, you've talked about the vitality test. We've got the link. Is there anything that you're doing you want to share with people that you've got coming up that people might enjoy experiencing?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do the gap first. So the gap between where we are now recording this on 9th of January and then the Chinese New Year starts on the 10th of February. What this period of time is designed to do is to give you a few more plot twists. Go, oh, didn't see that one coming. Oh, just to help you kind of clarify. So you might get more plot twists. But what it's also designed to do is the end of a water energy period of time. And water energy is about reserves, resources, sustainability, purpose. So it's you're in a tail end of a very reflective time. So you should be reflecting, you should be resting, you should be getting some reserves going, because when the year happens, it goes quite quickly. It's like spring, nothing. And lots of people are saying, are we there yet? When's the spiritual change going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Oh my goodness, here it is. So what we do now is we build our reserves up, we think a bit about it, but it is a slight pause before spring. Reflection. Do you know what you want? No. Well, work out what you want. Broad brushstrokes. And it can be, I had this and I didn't like it. I want something different. Good. So, for example, I thought I've stopped doing events. I came up to Broughton Hall with you, Gina, and I thought, I love public speaking. I get to go, I get to get out of my slippers. And I sort of thought, actually, I would like to do more live events. And my people were working as part of the community saying, can't we do more live events again? And go, okay, let's do more live events. So there's lots of directions telling me. Okay.
Yeah.
What we
got coming up?
Yeah. So I have got starting on the 19th of February. I've got two things, but 19th of February, I've got something called Confidence Flow and Finding You. And it is absolutely specifically designed for running into this Wood Dragon year and beyond. So it's confidence, flow, and finding you. So we're going to look at core confidence, situational confidence, conscious. We look at where your confidence comes from and what can collapse it down quickly. We're going to look at the nature of flow, when you need to be in flow, when you don't need to be in flow, and when flow could be the worst thing for you. And then we're going to do the finding you. We're going to look at the essence of who you are, the promise you made, the expression, what it needs to do. And it's just designed to get people into the next phase. That's what it's been designed to do. There's also, on the 10th of February, I'm going to do a longer thing on the Chinese New Year. A slightly bigger thing. However, if you're going to choose between the two things, I would choose confidence, flow, and finding you to do it. And I would also sign up now, because it is literally half price, and nobody knows this, but I'm going to give the Chinese New Year away as a bonus to the people that sign up to that anyway. So I love secrets, and I've just told one, so I apologize about that. But yeah, confidence, flow, and finding you. It's brilliant. It's utterly brilliant.
Sounds great. And you know, the older I get, technically, on one hand, I get wiser, but I also know myself less. I don't know. There's more of a conundrum. So, well, thank you for these treasures and secrets. I'm going to invite Judy to come in, because what we want to do now is say, Nick, a huge thank you to you for this fantastic session. And when we do that, if we're in a room, we will be applauding, but our hands are going up, we're waving and saying how much, and here's Judy, how much we've loved this.
Oh, good.
Nick, I always love listening to you, because you express your ideas with such clarity. And even though your ideas are so deep that we have to go away and reflect on them, we can understand exactly what you're trying to encourage us to reflect on. So I always love listening to you speak, and tonight has been a wonderful example of you public speaking at your best. And may your Wood Dragon year be full of everything that you are wanting, and lots of surprises and creative dreams coming in for you too. So thank you very much for all of us.